My audio's working. I can see.
I see it. We're
Perfect.
good.
Okay. So I will give you countdown on the recording.
Oh yeah.
3, 2, 1.
Good afternoon, everyone. Yes, it's afternoon. We're recording this during lunchtime.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I forgot the rest of the intro.
I think it goes
Oh,
something food of the day.
welcome to Off the Cut episode 22, which is respectfully dedicated to the food of the day, French fries.
Ooh.
But I know up in Canada, today's better known as Wednesday, July 13th, 2022.
Okay, Eric, let me ask you this. Matchstick, crinkle, curly fry. Pick your poison.
All right. So, first one I'm going to eliminate are those jumbo like steak fries, right? The ones
Yeah.
that are like the size of like a hot dog. Too much
Yeah.
potato.
Too much potato. You want the crisp, right? Like the best
Yeah,
part of
thank
it.
you.
Yeah, it's like fried chicken. The best part's the skin.
Yes. French fries for me are the opposite of cookies. When
Okay.
I'm eating a cookie, I want it to be soft and chewy. That
Oh,
is the last thing I want with the French fry.
understood. That's why I often have a hard time with home fries too. You know where they just like
Mhm.
dice up a potato and they call those French
Mhm.
fries? They can be good, but they're often too much potato, too soft.
But see, home fries are more of a breakfast thing, right?
Totally.
So you're usually gonna mix in like maybe a little sausage, a little
Mhm.
bacon,
Mhm. Some
mop
chives.
up your eggs. Oh,
Yeah.
chives.
Yeah.
I was actually at my mom and dad's house yesterday picking up some stuff, and I went out in their garden, and my mom's growing chives. And dude, I
Oh.
love chives. I
Yeah, me
literally
too.
just like took a couple and just started like gnawing on them
Yeah,
on the way
really
home.
flavorful. Straight from the garden.
Oh yeah, they're good. They're good.
I like a good flavored fry. So like the Cajun fries you get at I think Popeyes has them, but you can get them other places too. I love those, like a little paprika, a little bit of I don't know what else goes in that seasoning, but I like that.
You know, I still haven't been to Popeyes. I know we had that discussion last week, or that
Yeah,
was that on the after show that we talked about that.
could have been. Could have been.
Could have been, yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody, you got to get on that after show if you want to know all these juicy details.
If you would like to hear us talk at length about fries and other foods, then check out the after show.
The f- We should start a second podcast, like an ASMR podcast, where we don't even talk; we just chew into
Chew
the
like
microphone.
yeah. Speaking of ASMR, I gotta
Oh,
ah
oh God, that was a good one.
yeah, good single crack. Woo.
Ooh, that felt good too. What do
hmm
you got? Lime?
I got lime, which is actually my least favorite flavor of bubbly, but
Really?
the beggars can't be choosers, and they didn't have too much selection at the grocery store this week.
Ooh, I actually wanted to ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Bubbly.
Mm-hmm.
In Canada, on the little tab, do they have like a little saying or
They
something?
do. They do. Yeah.
Okay. So the lime, I just had a lime one this morning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And in the States, the lime one says like "oh hey" or "oh hi." What does that one say?
Oh, interesting. So the one I have in front of me just says O with 3 O's and an H. Like, oh.
Interesting.
And then here, I actually have another empty one next to me because that's how much I'm addicted to bubbly. And it also says the same thing. Here, let's see if I can hold it up on camera.
I don't think it'll come into
There we go.
focus. A little bit.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. So okay.
Yeah.
Yours is different. So I wonder if all the different flavors have different phrases.
I wonder. Yeah, that's a good question. I notice they frequently rotate the saying on it, but I don't know if it's by flavor or it's just by like they do a batch of like a million, and then as soon as they sell out of those ones, they go to a different
I thought it
saying.
was always the flavor. Like I thought the lime always had the same saying. Like strawberry always had the same
Oh, you know
saying.
what? Now I'm gonna be watching for that. That's an interesting
I
question.
don't know.
We'll have to write
We sure do
the.
talk about sparkling water a lot.
Do you think we can get the CEO of Bubbly on the podcast?
As our next guest,
Yeah, yeah.
he'd be like, "Oh, how many thousand or how many hundreds of thousands of people do you have listening to the podcast?" And we're like, "Oh
uh,
yeah, we don't even have commas."
we're like the top 10 for arts and something podcast, so
Something
aren't
like
we?
that.
Yeah.
Something like that. Hey, oh, by the way, dude, congratulations! Saw
On
you hit 100,000
Oh,
on
thank you very
YouTube.
much. Thank you very much. Yeah, I got some messages from I noticed a bunch of like listeners from the podcast kind of noticed it and commented on some of my latest videos, so it was much appreciated. Like
Hell
Craig
yeah, that's a big milestone.
yeah, thank you, dude. Thank you. I actually so I was gonna I thought it happened last week, I think, just before the last episode that we recorded, and I was
Yeah.
thinking about wearing a pair of really obnoxious sunglasses and pretending like I was a big celebrity, but I was like, no, that's I won't do that.
Dude,
That's
I
too
still
cringe.
haven't watched your tiling video, the one that I was, like, asking so many
I
questions about.
made it
It's in my
specifically for
queue.
you.
I know! I still haven't watched it. But like
I'm
I told you, I'm the person who, especially with, like, people that I'm friends with, I don't watch your video unless I can sit down and watch it all the way
with
through
your
just because 'cause
yeah.
I'm trying to be helpful.
Yeah, and
But at the same time,
I'm
like, is it hurting you because 'Cause I'm waiting forever to watch it.
maybe, but whatever, who cares? I think not clicking the thumbnail, but then finding it later and watching it through to completion is probably better than clicking it when you first see it and then tuning out after 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And also, I'm like Mr. 25-minute long video, so I understand it. You had to find a little part of your schedule to fit that in.
Yeah, dude, I just finished the voiceover for my dining room
Hmm.
table this morning,
How long are we now?
and so again, I still have to, like, move things around, adjust some clips or whatever.
Hmm.
So it'll probably be plus or minus 2 to 3 minutes when you do the final adjustments. It's at 47 minutes.
Oh my god! Wow, this
Yeah,
I am legitimately curious to see how this goes for you, because
me too.
I could see it like you've got a very dedicated core audience, right? Like
Yeah, oh, I always have a substantial number of people that always comment like, "Hey," I
exactly.
don't know them by name, but I'm like, "I've seen that name
Yes.
a
Yeah.
million times."
Yeah, and even I've noticed that watching your videos and looking through the comments. There is like a very good core group. And
Mhm.
so I think if all those people watch it through to completion, like your average watch duration is just going to be off the charts on this one.
It's gonna be massive. So
Yeah.
my average is, like, somewhere around 9 to 10-ish minutes,
Mhm.
because my videos are somewhere usually around 15 to 20, give
Yeah.
or take.
Yeah.
So you're probably right around there, maybe up a couple minutes. You're
My
probably like
videos
11,
skew a
12.
little longer, so especially when they first come out, like, 12 minutes,
Yeah,
11 minutes is pretty common to see. And then,
yeah.
if you have a video do well, then that number just tanks right down, but
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But, I mean, with a 45, 50-minute video, like, I'm sure I'll get that number at least in the 20s.
oh, for sure. And like especially like the first couple days, it might even be like 30. So it'll be
Yeah.
it'll be
So
interesting
we'll
to see.
see.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll see. Again, I have no idea when that video is gonna come out because I'm waiting to get some sponsor on it. So, like, I have, like, a whole queue of videos. I'm just like, "Yeah, I could put them out right now, but, like, I'm just kinda taking it easy."
Let me ask you a question. So lately I've been getting a lot of offers for companies that want to do performance based sponsorships.
Oh,
So they want to pay me like per thousand views.
yeah.
And I've been reluctant to do it, but now I'm kind of in a position like you are where I have a couple videos that are done and ready to
Sure.
go. So I'm like, would it should I just slap a sponsorship on there? But also part of me is like I want to just not have to worry about like the approval process and all the added
Yeah.
overhead that comes with sponsors. I think I said it a couple times on the podcast. I just want to kind of make a couple videos with no sponsors for the next little bit. So I don't know. I'm
Yeah.
going back and forth in my head. Like, yeah, it would put my like they're offering me like $20 per thousand views,
Mm,
which is like
that's, kinda normal, slightly on the lower end.
exactly,
But
exactly.
not that's not, disrespectful of an offer.
Exactly. And like my last video or actually my last video didn't do very well, the tiling one.
Yeah,
But
I saw that. The tiling's at, like, what, 4,000, five
yeah,
thousand.
it's
Like,
not good.
"Ooh,
But the one I did
whoops."
before that's at like 230,000. So it's like if
Mhm.
I can put a sponsor like a performance-based sponsorship on a video like that,
Yeah.
then it's like, yeah, okay, all of a sudden it becomes worth it because you're getting $20 from the sponsor and you're getting like, $4 to $6 from YouTube. So that
Yeah.
might end up being like a, $8,000 video. But
Yeah, potentially.
potentially, right? But
Or it
that
could suck.
or it could
You
suck
don't know.
and you get Jack, right? So yeah, that's the tough thing. And all these performance based ones, they cap it at the first 30 days that the video's out. And I'm like, that doesn't make any
Mhm.
sense because like a view that happens on day 31 is just as valuable for you as a view that happens on day 30.
Yeah.
So I've
If
been
I had to
go ahead.
If I had to guess, it's probably some sort of like tracking thing that is a nightmare for them, right? Let's cap it at 30 days. That way I don't have to,
Yeah. I
I can
think
basically just be like, just cut the check here and move on. We're done with Zach now.
exactly. And that's what I heard back from one of them. They're like, our accounting system isn't really set up to do that. But that also just feels
Yeah.
like a cop out to me. Like, I'd be fine. Like, hey, give me like 3 months and then pay me at the end of the 3 months. Like, I'm sure you could do that. But I think they know
Oh, yeah, no problem.
exactly. And but I'm sure they just don't want to do that because they're banking on that video like a year later blowing up and then them not having to pay you anything.
Well, for me, that seems to be what happens. Like, I have initial spike of a video, like it goes up pretty well,
Yep.
and then it kind of flatlines,
Yep.
and then it's either going to stay at the flat line or at some random arbitrary time in the future, it's just going to have another like
Exactly.
almost like it was re-released,
Yeah. And I've
and
had
nothing could have happened. It's
exactly,
just
exactly. Like I've had videos that even did really well. So I had a video that came out, did great for me, and like capped out. This is earlier in YouTube, so it capped out about like 40, 50,000 views or something. I was like very happy with that. Then like 6 months later, bumped up to like 300,000 views, and
yeah,
then leveled out again. And then recently it bumped up again, and it's like I don't know, it's like at 800,000 views or something like that. So
that's nuts, man.
there's these weird like little things that keep happening and those views theoretically should be just as valuable for the sponsor but nobody wants to pay you for those.
No, and I mean, think of it from a business standpoint, right? They're trying, and we all know this, they're a business. They're trying to get the best return for the least amount of money.
Totally.
You know
100%.
what I mean?
Yeah, they want to show they want that to happen and then them turn around to the like because this is all like negotiated through third parties. They
Yeah,
want to turn around and go to the actual sponsor and be like, look, we just got you 500,000 views for free essentially because of our expert
sure,
negotiating, right?
sure, yeah.
Yeah. So
It's weird. It's weird.
it is very weird.
Hey, you know what else? You know what isn't weird?
Our lovely patrons.
Our patrons.
Yeah, baby.
So we have returning top tier patrons
Mhm,
Scott Eastman at
mhm.
Eastie's Woodshop and Corey Duvall. But this week we have another person that wants to hop in our top tier patron train, and that's Wes Willard.
Really? I didn't see this. Does this just happen in the last couple days? Because I was on the Patreon.
I think it was yesterday or this morning, maybe.
Okay, I think yesterday morning I was on the Patreon just getting all caught up on all the latest stuff, and I didn't see that. So that's awesome. Thanks, man.
Oh yeah, thanks, Wes.
Yeah.
So Wes is top tier patron, and
Cool.
so here's the thing: I was at the local farmers market the other day,
Mm-hmm.
and there's one down the street, and they're known for their berries. I mean,
Strawberry, blueberry.
strawberries,
Okay. Okay.
blueberries, raspberries. You call you whatever berry you want. I was really hungry. I had a craving. Had to get some berries in me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was driving down the street. Really needed some fresh strawberries, right? Because we're
As you.
gonna make a strawberry goat cheese salad
Oh, okay. Fancy.
with a little chicken. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And so I'm walking around and I'm taking a lot of time here trying to find the best berries
Mm-hmm.
I could possibly find.
Mm-hmm.
So good, in fact, that you ever do that thing where like you go to the grocery store and you start eating your food on the way home, or like even while you're at the grocery store?
Yeah, well, that's why I always purposely eat before I go grocery shopping. Because if
Ah,
I'm hungry when I'm grocery shopping, I just I buy like a pig essentially. I'm like, yeah, 10 bags of chips. That's perfect.
yeah, I could use a whole cow.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
So anyway, I'm driving home eating these strawberries.
Hmm.
Delicious. And before I get the rest of the story, no one's harmed. It's all good. So I was eating these berries and driving down the street, and this big turd, and I mean not like a human feces turd, but a person, pulls out, hits me as I'm driving.
Really?
The strawberries I'm eating flew out the window
Hmm.
because my windows are down. And you won't believe this. Wes Willard was right there and caught every single berry
No
that flew
way.
out my window. Yeah.
Get out. Wow. Well done,
And
Wes. Lightning
and
fast
then so he
reflexes.
that's what I'm saying. This is why he's a top tier patron. But he was like, "Hey, everything go okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, we're fine." And he goes, "What are those two beautiful, soothing voices coming out of your speakers right now?" And I was like, "Well, that is actually Off the Cut podcast." and he was just like, "I gotta get in on this." So he became a patron. Yeah?
Yeah, oh, that's great. My favorite part about that entire story is that you drive around listening to our own podcast.
No. So here's a confession, and then there's no judgment here if the way you answer this.
Mhm.
Have you ever listened to our own podcast?
I have. So the first few that we put out, I listened to them like again to make sure I wasn't horrible. Essentially,
Oh,
I was like,
okay,
Eric did a
okay.
great job on that last podcast. I should really listen to it again and make sure that I'm not letting him down with my shitty performance. Oh, there goes the explicit.
There it is.
Ah,
What do we get? 15 minutes in?
yeah. Well,
Mark explicit. Okay. Um, but yeah, no, dude, I people ask me, like, you listen to your own podcast? And I was like, no, I mean, I already had this conversation. I don't think I need to relive my own conversation.
yeah, exactly. I'll listen to it on occasion, like for technical reasons. Be like, like when a new episode goes up, I'll listen to like the first 10 minutes or something like that, and be like, did I get the audio levels right? And like, did
Sure,
I like
sure.
get it all synced up correctly? I mean, I listen to that stuff before I publish, but it's nice to double check your work every once in a while.
And for some reason, like when you have the final thing like out into the ether, it feels different than when you're
Yes,
just pressing play on your editing program.
exactly. Do you ever watch your own YouTube videos back?
Sometimes.
Yeah,
Well, to be honest with you, a lot of times I'll pull them up the day they come out and just let them run on
every
like a
single screen in
burner
the
account.
house.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Tell
I don't know
Miranda.
if that actually does anything.
Yeah, I've often wondered that because I do the same thing because I'm,
Oh yeah.
we all worship the algorithm god, right, and pray in our own weird ways. Um, and so I'll often do that. But I was wondering, like, is Google smart enough to know that like all of these views are coming from one house and it's the same one that uploaded the video?
Yeah, and it's from the same IP address, even if you're coming
Exactly.
off different accounts.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
come on.
But then I'm
You
also
gotta
like,
know.
maybe they just don't care because at most I'm going to put like 5 views on my own video, and at the end of the day that's not even enough to move the needle in one direction or the
That's
other.
not even a penny,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. So
Is it?
I don't think so. No, it's probably like a
I don't know.
fraction, very fault.
Fraction of a penny.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like TikTok money.
Exactly. Exactly.
TikTok will be like, "You got 11 million views. Here's 13 cents."
Yeah, congrats. You should be so
Oh,
happy with this.
so I also forgot. So Wes actually sent us a story of his own.
Oh, okay, like
Okay.
a
So,
meeting him story, or
about just a story he wanted us to talk about on the podcast.
okay, well, let's do
So
it.
listen to this. He goes, "I come bearing a story. I will do my best to keep it short. Our 11-year-old daughter started horseback riding lessons earlier this year. Naturally, her interests outside of riding started to hone into reading, learning, watching things on horseback riding.
Okay.
Keep in mind, I have listened to the podcast since day one. Thanks, Wes. I can't remember which episode it was, but it was the episode where Zach's girlfriend was brought up. We
Oh,
talk about we
yeah,
talk
yeah,
about her
yeah.
every episode.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. He mentioned her accolades from her youth.
Mhm.
When Zach asked Eric and he tried to guess what popular Australian kids show she was on,
Mhm.
I almost wrecked the car in my head. You have to be shitting me. Oh, oh, we already marked it explicit.
Yeah, it's okay. We can
Effing,
swear as much as we want.
effing Saddle Club. Yes, I knew it all too well. And I'm
That's so
no
funny.
Aussie either. I lived in Southwest Missouri, but with the interest from our daughter above her future venture. I'm sorry. It's really small. Above her further venture into horseback riding, led us not even a month before this podcast to season 1 of Saddle Club, which
That's
she found
awesome.
on Amazon Prime.
Okay, so this is actually okay. Sorry, continue the story, but I have an interesting note about this.
Never in a million years would I thought anything reference to that show would cross my path, only to have it done a couple months after watching via a woodworking
That's
podcast.
so funny because it's like an old show, right? Like I think my girlfriend filmed it when she was 15, 16, maybe even younger than that. Actually, I think it might have started when she was like 12.
Okay.
So first of all, Wes, let me know if your daughter wants an autograph.
Mhm.
I can try and arrange that. I think
Does
so.
she still have, those, like black and white headshots?
No, definitely not. We probably had to print something out or something like that. Um, but what was I gonna say? Oh, so he saw. Did he say he saw it on Prime?
Yeah.
So Sophie's been trying to figure this out because she's not being paid any royalties for the.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah, so she was like she used to get royalties up until a certain point, and the show stopped airing on TV. But then the
Yeah.
production company must have sold it to all these streaming services, and none of the actors that should be getting royalties were getting paid for it essentially. So they're all behind the scenes, like, what the hell? Should we like talk to a lawyer? So I've been trying to get her to talk to an entertainment lawyer for a while.
Yeah,
Um,
and, let's keep we can keep the numbers private, but I've gotta imagine that the royalties on that, it's probably a decent chunk of change.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm sure the streaming services just like cut a big check in order to have it on there, but they didn't get a penny of that. So
Yeah.
there's somewhere in this like the chain of production companies and distribution companies, somebody's making money on this and not paying their fair share to everybody else.
I
Um,
would be really interested to see, the contract that she signed 20 years ago,
and she's been
and
trying.
what's the limit of liability on that?
Exactly. She's been trying to dig that up, but because it was a show that was made in Canada and Australia 20 years ago, she's having a hard time tracking down this contract.
And there's not she doesn't have a digital copy of
It,
it.
it was like pre-digital, right? Like everybody was
Yeah,
still pen and paper back then. So,
yeah.
yeah. So it's been an interesting little adventure. It's kind of been like one of those like back burner things that we're like, we'll get to it eventually. We'll talk to an entertainment lawyer. We're trying to track this down.
Yeah, but I mean, if you're considering hiring a lawyer, it's gotta be a decent amount of money, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, sorry.
It's not just like a couple
I
$100.
started laughing because I thought you were going to make a bird lawyer joke.
No. By the way, uh, Jessica, the one I told the story about the bird loss, she commented on the Patreon thing. She was like, "That was hilarious. I needed that." She liked the story, so
That's awesome.
hire her
All your bird
for your
law
bird
needs.
law needs, all your aviary disputes.
Yeah, I actually have no idea how much money it would potentially be, but it's got to be something. And like Sophie gets this all the time. She'll like one day she'll like log on to her Instagram and she'll have a bunch of new followers and they'll be from like France or something like that. And she'll be like, "Guess they started showing
Oh,
Saddle Club and on French TV this month or
yeah.
something like that."
That's so funny though that,
Yeah.
even I mean, it makes sense, 20 years later that people are still into it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah,
I
no.
get it.
I mean, it's one of those things. I think it's kind of timeless. It's like young girls. All young girls always love horses, right? Like that's been a
Oh, yeah.
truism for as long as I can remember. So it's like, yeah, why wouldn't the TV show still work?
And dude, I hate well, let me say, I hate riding horses.
I've only done it 2 times, I think.
So, I think I did it 2 times, and
Okay.
again, this is when I was probably, 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
One of them, I literally was on the horse and it had, it was like a car seat. Like,
Oh,
it had,
okay.
a seat belt and, a backrest and everything.
Really interesting.
It was cool somewhere, out in, Colorado or,
Yeah.
it's some, you know, big scenic park thingy or whatever. But then another one, we, showed up kinda late, and again, I was, the same age, and they're like, "Oh, well," typically, when kids ride horses, they give them this little teeny tiny horse, right?
Little
That's,
pony.
1,000 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's just I'm just gonna mosey through, but we showed up late, and they're like, "Well, the only horse we have is, this one who's, not very tame," and in my mind, this horse was just, full out sprint, 300 miles an hour. I'm sure it was barely moving, right?
Yeah.
But it started bouncing and, bucked me off, and I hit a tree.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and, so after that, I was just like, "No way
Yeah.
am I getting on a horse, man. I don't trust them."
But then you did get on a second time?
No.
Oh, okay.
The second
That was the
time I
second.
was
Okay.
ever on a horse is when I got bucked off.
Gotcha. Gotcha. I've
I'm
ridden a
like,
horse twice, like I was saying. only ever in my adult life, and it was
Yeah.
even then, like once a horse gets going pretty fast, it's like okay, this is a little bit hard to hold on, even with like a saddle and the reins and everything. It's yeah, so,
For me, I think it's a trust thing. Like, I'm
yes,
sure if I did it more and more and I rode the same horse all the time,
yeah.
I'd probably be,
If it was your horse,
yeah, more at ease with the horse. It's
yeah,
like, think of like a dog.
yeah,
Like, if you go to your friend's house and you've seen this dog 100,000 times, you kind of know how this dog is going to act. But if it's like a brand new dog, you're like, well, I don't know. Can I
yeah,
pet it?
yeah.
Like that kind of thing, right?
Isn't it interesting how we've bred different animals to have different personalities? Like every dog you meet is just like can't wait to meet you. It's like tails wagging, wants to lick your hand. And then
Or
like
murder you.
yeah, well, yeah, that does happen on occasion. And but then horses are kind of like they'll tolerate people, like they'll let them ride them, but they're not like overly affectionate. Well, and I think that's just
Yeah.
must have been just how we bred them. And then like cats are like somewhere in the middle. Like, my cat's kind of affectionate when she wants to be.
Yeah.
And then
But for cats, it's very much on their own time.
yeah, oh yes, very much so. I find my cat is affectionate in certain areas of the house. Like if I lay down in my bedroom to have like a nap, she'll come and like cuddle up with me. She'll like put her like paw or rest her head on me. But if I'm out on like the couch in the living room, she won't. She has her own chair in the living room that she
Uh,
goes to.
wants nothing to do with it.
Yeah.
Or if it's food time,
Oh yeah. Well, that's a different story. Then she's just around my ankles. Meow 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 meow.
give me the
Yeah.
food.
Give me the food.
Give
Give me
me
the
the
food.
food. Oh, I gotta. Oh,
Uh
sorry. I
oh.
was double checking the live stream.
Making sure my mic was
Uh,
working.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're good.
Okay. Good.
Shit. What was I gonna say? Oh, so this is some. Sorry, this is completely random, but I wrote it down a couple weeks ago, and I wanted to address it here.
Okay.
I want to air a grievance.
Okay. Let's do
This
it.
is 2 weeks late, dude. I genuinely can't stand and don't understand people who video record fireworks.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Come on.
I know. I
Has
know.
anyone in the history of the world
Rewatch.
taken a video of the
I
fireworks and
know.
been like, "Oh, man, that was a good one," and
Yeah.
then, like, the next day rewatched them?
Yeah. It's like in their defense, it seems like the type of thing that you should be recording. For some reason, like intuitively I'm like reaching for my phone, but then I have this internal dialogue in my head that's like you're never going to watch this, like put your phone away because this is completely
Yeah.
useless. Um there are two edge cases that I would like to discuss with you. One,
Ooh, okay.
I
I'm all
saw
ears.
one I saw recently. My friend sent it to me where they had this big fireworks display and they accidentally set off all the fireworks at the same time. So all of a sudden it was just
Ooh.
like daylight and like there's like fireworks going in all sorts of crazy directions. Like it was wild and it's like, okay, well that's you would never have that unless somebody had thought to, hey, I'm gonna record the fireworks today.
Okay, okay. But, like, I'm not just gonna go to, like, my local city fireworks and, like, set up a tripod and be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, baby, I gotta get my brightness and my
Yeah.
ISO
Oh,
and,
totally.
like, all that dialed in." Like, no one's watching that.
I know. And then okay, so and then here's my other edge case.
Okay.
You get a drone and you fly the drone through the fireworks. That I've
Mm.
watched a couple times and it's pretty entertaining.
But you're also probably only watching 30 seconds to 2 minutes of that.
Correct. I've watched it
You're not
once and
watching the
then
whole 30-minute
no, no way.
explosion.
No way, not a chance. I'm like, "Oh, this is a neat concept." Watch for 30 seconds and then immediately close the window.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
It's
And
yeah. I don't know. You think about the amount of things that I've recorded on my phone and the unless it's like something for social media, like I never watch any of that stuff again.
no.
Yeah.
So I think it's funny, like, how often I go through, like, the photos thing on my phone,
Mhm.
and for me, it is mostly, like, screenshots of something I was trying to send a friend
Yeah.
or, like, something funny or whatever, but, like, the majority of the photos and videos taken on my phone are deleted after 30 days.
Yeah. Yeah. I went through recently because I was running out of space on my phone, and I was like just looking through all the videos and stuff, and I was
I'm
like,
like, why do I have
this
this?
is all garbage. Like so much of this is garbage. Occasionally there'll be like a fun memory of like me and my friends or me and my girlfriend
Hmm.
somewhere, but majority of it's just like I don't know. I took a photo of this happens to me all the time. I'll go to like Home Depot and you go to buy something, but there's no little sticker on it. So I always take a photo of the booth so that when I get to the cash register, I can say like, "Here's how much this thing costs."
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I do that too.
yeah. Because otherwise, they do the pay. They get on the PA system and then they try and send like an associate to price check it for you.
Yeah, or they'll have like the guy come over the loudspeaker and they're like, "We need a price check
Yeah,
on 300 pack of tampons for
yeah,
Zach," and
yeah.
Zach's like, "No,
No, not
it's
again.
not for me." It's always the most embarrassing thing that when you need like a price check on something
Yeah,
weird.
specifically the heavy flow ones.
Heavy flow.
Yeah.
Zach's a big heavy flow guy. I've always wondered, people who work at grocery stores,
Mhm.
do you think that they analyze and look at the combination of
Yes.
items that you buy?
Yeah, well, what else are they gonna do? I would be judging people. I judge the people in front of me in the line.
Yeah. Like, so, like, what's something okay, like, if somebody came through your line, say you worked at a grocery store and they're
Yeah.
buying, let's say, drain cleaner,
Yeah.
duct tape,
Mhm. And
heavy
condoms.
flow tampons,
Yeah.
maybe a bag of powdered sugar,
Mhm.
and
Oh.
canned dog food. I'd be like, "What
Yeah.
what are these people getting into
Yeah.
tonight?"
What is going on? But then you see like somebody go through and it's like, like organic vegetables and then like goat cheese and almond milk. You're like, okay, you're like a health nut. Like I feel like you can tell so much from somebody's shopping habits.
Yeah. Or what really doesn't make any sense, or where I thought you were gonna go, and I've seen this, is you'll see somebody buy, like, just a boatload of organic, like, fruits, vegetables, kinda
And then
stuff, and
pizza
then they'll
pockets.
have yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
have, like, a hungry man
Yeah.
frozen dinner or something
Yeah.
like that. I'm like, "Who is this for?
I know.
This
I know.
shouldn't be for you."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's like frozen pizzas and then like Hungry Man dinners and a economy bottle of vodka. Like that's a normal kind of.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Economy bottle of vodka. Oh god. Yeah, there's wild stuff. Well, we're a half hour in.
Oh man, should we do
What
some?
do you say we get to a question?
Yeah, let's do some questions.
So, well, first one we got one. We'll do one of Scott Eastman, Eastie's Woodshop,
Nice.
top tier patron. So he goes to the top of the list with questions. We'll do. He has three questions, so we'll hit one now,
One
and
in the
maybe
after
the other
show.
two in the after show or
Okay,
something like that.
I like it.
This one's the most interesting to me, so this is what I'm going to ask you.
Okay.
He said, Zach, this one's for you.
Ooh,
This is all for you. We have a brick fireplace in our home,
okay. Ooh,
and it is
oh.
currently covered with plaster.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
How how would you go about removing the plaster to re-expose the brick and get it ready for paint?
Okay, so this is gonna be a little tricky because especially depending if the plaster is right on the brick, it's gonna be hard to clean out the brick is probably gonna be porous. Like so many of the times it's that textured brick
Uh,
for the fireplace. So that's gonna be a little bit tough. But here's what I would do. I would start on one of the corners because you're gonna have a nice thick area where the two surfaces meet, and you're probably gonna have like a half inch of plaster going back to the wall and then a half inch across the front. What you're going to want
okay.
to do is try and chip that corner so you can kind of get between the brick and the plaster. And
Mhm.
then it's going to be a very laborious process of just chipping away, like, I'm trying to think, like, you're going to want to attack the plaster like perpendicular. So you're pulling it away from the brick
Mm.
instead of like attacking it from the front and potentially driving it into the brick and damaging the brick.
Oh.
Because the brick is at the end of the day, it's quite soft, right? So
Yeah, it's made out of clay, right?
exactly. So I would try and chip off as much as you can. I'm kind of thinking out loud here. So once you get the majority of it off, if you can afford it, I would look into like maybe like a sandblasting service to come in and like clean up the front of the
Yeah.
brick and just get that last little bit off. I'm also wondering if it's a a more modern plaster, because there's different types of plaster. Like you go back far enough, a lot of the plasters they used to use are basically just concrete. It's like
Yeah.
concrete and horsehair essentially that they would like that they would like smear across the front of fireplaces. If it's a more modern plaster though, it might be water soluble. So you might try getting the worst of it off and then getting like a
Oh.
Hubbard sprayer and just spraying it down with water and then scrubbing it with like a good stiff bristle brush.
Okay.
Yeah. Or the other thing you could do is just get the worst of it off and then go at it with an angle grinder with a very fine abrasive head and just try and smooth out the surface, because chances are it's an old fireplace. They probably wrapped it with plaster for a reason. So get in there with an angle
Mm,
grinder, try and smooth it out, and then that way when you go to, I think he said he was going to paint it afterwards, right?
yeah, I said he wanted to paint it afterwards.
Yeah, so when you go to, it's already basically prepped for painting at that point. You've removed all the like the broken bits and you kind of smoothed it out and made it nice, and then you can paint right over the top.
So here, while you're talking about all this, if a client were to ask you to do this,
Mhm.
in your head, how long do you think this whole process would
Oh
take? Are we
shit.
talking like couple days?
Couple days, yeah. I would
Okay,
say
not a couple hours.
no, no, this probably it's again, it's all in the prep, right? Like anything
Yeah,
painting related. Like it depends how nice you want that you want it to look kind of rustic. Well, maybe you could do it in a day then. And it also depends how easily the plaster comes off. It might be on there pretty good, but it might also be old and might just kind of chip off in sheets and you might get pretty lucky. So I would budget as a DIY project at least a couple days for this. You might get lucky, you might get it done in a day, but I'd plan on at least two.
so here's my naive mind. The
Mhm.
first thing I went to is as soon as you started describing how difficult it would be to chip all this stuff off, would it be possibly a better solution to just, just absolutely destroy it, not really worry about the brick underneath it, and almost lay new brick?
I mean, that's certainly an option. I think that you would have to make the call essentially. Like, I would try chipping off the old stuff first. And if you're like, this is an absolute nightmare and none of it's coming off, then I
Just
would
lay new brick.
I would angle more towards demolition. Yeah.
Okay.
And you know what? Another thing you might want to think about is instead of demoing it and getting to the brick underneath, you might just be able to throw a very thin veneer of fake brick over top of the existing plaster and then just paint that out.
Oh, I've seen that like, they sell it in, like, sheets of plywood, basically, where it's almost like a fake brick kinda thing.
I've
You talking
actually
something like that?
I've actually seen it at tile stores where they'll just sell you like individual tiles that look like bricks essentially. They actually are legitimately bricks that they've sliced down to like
Oh,
a
that'd
quarter
be
inch thick.
better than that plywood stuff then.
Yeah, I mean it depends how upscale you want to go. I don't know. The plywood stuff kind of gives me cheap vibes, but
Yeah, and I'd be worried about the heat with the
that's true.
laminate and glue. You
That's
might
true.
have some issue.
I mean, are we talking a real wood burning fireplace or are we talking like an insulated gas burning one? It's yeah. I mean, better to be safe than sorry and go non-combustible at all times, but
Yeah.
for some of those sealed units you can put combustible material right up to them and you're okay.
I feel like those are some pretty good solutions for you, Scott.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let us know how it goes, though.
Yeah.
Send us a photo or something. I'd be
Yeah.
curious.
Get it up on the Patreon community. I'd love to see more photos on the Patreon community of like what other people are working on. So,
Can they post photos on there?
oh, I don't know. If they can't, then maybe send them to us in a message and we'll post them.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how it works.
Yeah, do I? We're such boomers.
I I have I keep getting this message. They're like, "We overhauled Patreon and the way it looks." And I was like,
Uh,
"Did you? Because it still looks the same and it's still horrible to navigate."
yeah. Why is Patreon so bad to navigate? I can never find anything on there.
No, like, you wanna, like, edit what you offer in each tier, and it takes you, like, 10 minutes to figure it out.
Even simple stuff, man. Like sometimes, like just sending people a message or responding to a comment. I'm like, how do I get to the comments on a post I made?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or half the time, like, I'll log into Patreon, and it'll be like, "Oh, you have an unread message from 3 weeks ago." I
Yeah.
was like, "You didn't give me a notification that
Yeah.
somebody sent me a message?"
Yeah. Yeah. That's happened to me quite a few times. Usually they do send you a message, but sometimes they just don't for whatever weird reason.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I did wanna give an update. Uh, Instagram. let's give an
Oh,
update on
yes,
Instagram.
please, please.
Still nothing.
Okay.
I've called them again and I've gotten the same runaround of, yeah, we're short on people. We'll get to it when we can.
Oh my god.
So in my head, I tried your thought about like contacting people on LinkedIn, no
Mhm.
success there. In my head, I'm just going, well, we lost it. And I'm just going to go forward on just posting stuff on my backup account.
Yeah.
And if I get it back in the future, whatever.
You're gonna become one of these people who has two accounts. You'll have like I was looking through your new account and I saw that you were following. I think you talked about this female creator that you knew that had the same thing happen to
Oh,
her,
yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I noticed she's got like one account with like 14,000 followers and then another one with like 100,000 followers or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to become one of those people. You're going to grow the second account up to, 10,000, 15,000 followers, and then boop, you're going to get your old one back. And you're going to be like, no, now I have two accounts. What do I
Who
do?
knows? Who knows? I
Yeah.
mean, but to be completely honest with you, like it's at least my mindset right now is like I'll post stuff, but I honestly I'm not going to put anywhere near as much effort as I did
Yeah.
before because it's just like I got screwed, man.
I know that. And that's why Instagram, they've done a lot of crazy things. They've obviously gotten everybody in the world hooked on their app, but I think they lack a little bit of long-term vision.
Agreed.
They're too willing to alienate their creator base. And
You would think that with at the size of account, I mean, my account's not wasn't that big, but it was
well,
110,
100,000, I mean,
115 or something.
a lot of
You
people
would think that
aspire
at a
to that.
s yeah, you would think that at a certain point, you would have some sort of, like, creator
Yeah.
concierge
Yeah.
type thing.
Creator liaison, like
Yeah,
somebody who deals, yeah, like, okay, I get it. Like, if you have 300 followers, it might be a little hard to reach somebody. But at that point, you're like a part of the ecosystem. Like, you're driving traffic on their app,
yeah.
right? Yeah.
Getting several, I don't know, what several million, probably 10, 20, 30 million views a
Yeah.
month on
Yeah.
stuff, like, I'm definitely giving them some revenue.
Yeah, for sure.
By
For
no
sure.
means the largest creator on there at all.
No, but like again, it's like it's part of this. I mean, YouTube is great about this, right? Like that's why they have like all these programs to like I don't know help you and like it. I've actually never had to contact YouTube for any sort of support, so maybe
No,
I should hedge my bets here. But I feel like they're more creator oriented than any other platform.
agreed.
Yeah,
But yeah, so that's the long story short is
no update.
no update.
So did
So
you send some emails to people at Instagram and just not hear back?
correct. They just
Okay.
didn't respond yet.
Okay.
So
Uh,
I appreciate
yeah.
appreciate it. It was a good idea. If you can get the name of it, you said Sophie had a friend or
Oh,
something
I
that
will
did
ask her
it.
about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you could get that contact, that'd be great. But
Yes.
it is what it is. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
I did
trying.
notice you started posting again on your new account. I was like, "Oh, is this a bad sign for getting the old account back?" Cuz I think you posted once with it and then left it dormant for a couple weeks. So,
Yeah, so what am I don't know, I'm already at I got 200 followers, I don't
yeah.
know.
I noticed the your
It's
latest
decent.
video had good views. Like it was in the thousands, right?
Yeah, it's got 3,000, 6,000 views from yesterday, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's 1,000% engagement rate.
Yeah, something like that. I do
Something like yeah.
I don't know, I just whatever, it was I'm gonna be honest with you, there was definitely a time where I was just like, "Man, F this," like, maybe I'm just done with this whole content thing, but I think that was, like, just like, you're just, you know,
Yeah. Like I'm going
down
to
in the dumps
yeah.
for a day or 2, going a little temper tantrum.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to take my ball and I'm going to go home. Screw you, Instagram.
So let me ask you this question.
Mhm.
I've considered doing a video on YouTube, but I don't know how it'll come off. So I want to hear your genuine thoughts. And if
Okay.
it's a terrible idea, I want you just say, no, Eric, don't do that.
Okay.
I've thought about making a video entitling it I lost half my business.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And the purpose of the video would be just kind of explain, be like, hey, here's what's going on. you know, here's kind of how like this whole business goes for me. You know, I have all these different revenue streams. This is a huge one and I lost it. But the purpose of this video is not to just, hey, send me money.
Yeah, yeah.
The purpose of the video is that whenever you're in any sort of business or any sort of life thing, don't always hedge your bets on one thing. Like you have
Yes.
to be diversified and
Yeah.
kind of like talk about that. What are your thoughts?
I think that is a good lesson to wrap up in a bigger video.
Okay. Okay.
I would so here's my thinking on this. I wouldn't make a dedicated video about it because I think most of your audience comes to you for woodworking content,
Mm.
right? And
Mm-hmm.
I think that's too far of a deviation. There is so if you had a second channel where you did like more like vlog stuff or
Sure.
more
Sure.
like behind the scenes stuff, I would say that would be a great video for there because
Yeah.
I'm sure there is probably like 10% of your audience who would find that super interesting and super relevant. But I don't know that it would be worth the effort to produce a whole video about it.
Yeah, and that's why I was unsure.
Yeah.
I think if I did make the video, it would be somewhere between like 5 to 8 minutes.
Yeah.
So it'd be relatively short. And but my concern would be that if I did make the video, it would come off as give
Like
me money. And that's not what I would, you know what I
yeah.
mean?
Yeah, I do. I don't think I mean I think it's kind of about how you talk about it. Like as long as you're not like at the end of the video, like, hey, here's my Venmo, like support me here. I don't
Haven't
think
gotten any Venmos recently.
um yeah, but I don't know. I think it might be a good lesson to tie into a bigger video. Like, I don't know, like if the next time you're doing a project that you're going to sell or is like for
Yeah.
clients and maybe you have a sponsorship and be like one thing I learned was and many of you may not know I recently lost my Instagram account is that diversification is important for your business. I just don't know if it would play well as like a dedicated video on
Yeah,
your
I
channel.
don't know.
I
I'm
mean,
definitely like 50-50.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, could it really hurt to make it and just try? I don't know.
No. And my thought is like truly, maybe it'll be one of those clickbaity things where I lost half my business and
Yeah,
people are like, "Oh,"
totally,
and wanna
totally.
watch it. I don't know.
Yeah,
I've
I think I no, I mean, there's definitely potential for some clicks and stuff there, but I think again, like long term, I don't know that it would. You might, yeah, I don't know. That's an interesting question. I know. So John from Lincoln Street Woodworks, he recently removed a very popular video on his channel,
Oh,
where
which one was it?
the one where he talked about how much money he made
Okay.
in the last year as a
Yeah, yeah,
YouTuber,
yeah.
I think. He removed that from his channel. Maybe he's put it back up, but I know at one point he removed it because he thought that it was hurting the performance of his channel because too many people were watching that video because they were curious about how much the YouTuber makes, but they didn't really care about woodworking or tool reviews or anything like
Mm.
that. So it was attracting the wrong audience to his channel.
Mm. Interesting.
So he ended up pulling it down last time I checked.
Interesting.
Yeah, so I
Hmm.
worry that something like that could happen. But, at the end of the day, I don't know how much we're all just trying to read the tea leaves of
Conjecture.
the almighty algorithm. We're trying to sort out
Yeah,
how it
I mean,
works.
I feel like recently I've gotten kind of to the point of like not worrying too much algorithm-y
Mhm.
and more just being like, this is kind of me. This is
Yeah.
related
Yep.
to like the topic.
Yep.
Like, if I
Yeah,
put it out and it stinks, it is what it is.
and that's why I think there's 100% a big portion of your audience that would find it interesting.
Yeah.
But I just don't know if it's like 100% of your audience or if it's 1%. So, yeah. That's
I
my
mean, the worst I could always just try. And if it's absolute
Yep.
garbage performance,
Yep.
just delete it.
Yep, I mean that's always an option, and it's a 5 to 8 minute long video, especially one that's going to be more of like kind of like a quote unquote rant. Like it's just going to be
Sure, sure.
you set up the camera and like talk and right. It's not going to be super hype. It's not going to take you weeks to make it. Is the point I'm making.
No, I'm sure I could bullet point out what I wanted to say in a half hour and probably film the 5 to 10-minute video in about an hour. Like
Exactly.
I all in, I can't imagine it'll be more than a 4 to 5 hour,
Exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
overlay some clips of me woodworking, like retro clips of like when I first started and like
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Oh, that'd be cool. It might be
Yeah.
kind of nice to it might be kind of nice again to tie it into a bigger video where like the you can still do like the title like I lost half my business, but you could talk about the evolution of Spenceley Design Co.
Yeah.
And then that could be like the losing it could be like the Instagram account could be like a footnote in that video.
Not a
Um
bad idea.
yeah.
Not a bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
you
I'm
gotta. I'm thinking
still
about how you can make it longer, so you can get a 40-minute video out of this and get your watch
still
duration up.
toying around with the idea and seeing what happens. I don't know
Yeah,
what I'm gonna do with it, but
yeah,
uh I don't know. Luckily, so but Timberland, we're just kind of like kicking it with sponsor wise, we're just kind of like kicking it down the road and they're like,
yeah.
well, we'll see what happens. I think my idea for Timberland is just gonna say, "Hey, I don't know, it was a 12-month deal or whatever. I'm making this number up.
Mm,
I gave you 6 months of the 12 months.
mm,
Can we just cut the compensation in
yeah,
half and just walk away, call it a day?"
yeah.
Um,
They're not
with
going to
Tony
want you to do that though, because they want you exclusive to Timberland for.
yeah, whatever. And but I was like, I mean, could I post stuff on my new account that has 200 people?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
they're gonna probably dick me around on that.
What
But with
about if?
Tony Jorgensen,
Okay, go
they're
ahead.
like, "Hey, we'll wait. Um, maybe what we could do is you could just, double up on your TikTok videos,
That's what I was going to say.
or maybe you could just all the videos you were going to post on your account, what if you just send them to us and we're allowed to use them on our account?" I was
Oh,
like, "I'm totally cool with that."
yeah,
And they
yeah.
were super, super easy to work with. They're
Nice.
like, "We totally understand this is out of your control. Like, we don't want to just end the contract. We love working with you." So luckily, things are all right.
Well, that's again like some brands are just a pleasure to work with, and it kind of sounds
Exactly.
like Pony is. Yeah. Like, was your contract with Timberlands on TikTok too? Was it for both platforms?
No. So my contract with Timberland was uh, photo posts
Oh,
on Oh, but you can post a photo on TikTok now, can't you?
yeah. I think it has to be like a carousel though, doesn't it? Like it
Yeah,
has.
they
Yeah.
wanted a carousel.
Oh,
Maybe I could pitch that to them.
yeah. There you go. Like that's. I'm surprised. Often I'll get like companies will be like, "Hey, we want to do a TikTok or Instagram campaign with you," and I'll be like, "I have a TikTok account where I have almost as many followers. You want me to make a reel?" I'll often be like, "Give me another $100. I'll post it on TikTok." And most brands like,
Sure.
"Nah, not interested." It's
Yeah.
like, really, you get
But,
double
like,
the
why wouldn't
exposure.
you?
I know. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah.
like you get double the reach. So,
That's
but
such a good back pocket trick of, like, try to grab some extra cash,
the
be
old
like, "Oh, I
upsell.
how about you I also can post a video on TikTok," and don't mention that it's literally the exact same video that
Yeah,
you're gonna
yeah,
post.
yeah. Well, but I mean,
Oh
even
god.
if like there's approaching zero crossover between my TikTok audience and my Instagram audience.
Oh, yeah.
It's like so you might be the only person who follows me on on both platforms.
I don't
Um
even know who I follow on TikTok. Do
yeah,
I
you,
follow
you might not
you?
even follow me to to be fair.
I don't watch TikTok, so I don't know if I follow anyone, to be
I
honest
don't
with
take
you.
any offense to it whatsoever. Um but yeah, so it's like who cares if it's the same video? You still get seen by twice as many people essentially. So,
Yeah, I don't know.
yeah,
At least I have things in the tool bag to not lose, stat boatloads of money. But
exactly.
maybe I'll talk about this in after show. I've been working with Craig and I finished up their summer campaign
Okay,
thing
so you're
from
all
my
done with
last
them?
video.
Okay. I
Yes.
wasn't sure if that was the
But
last one.
with all this nonsense going on with Instagram, and I'm obviously losing a good amount of money through that, I think I'm gonna pitch them more ideas.
Yeah.
So, all right, maybe let me shoot you my ideas that I've got so far for
Okay.
them. And keep in mind when you work with Craig, their thing is they want like some plans to go on their website.
Yep.
So I want it to be something that's not like unbelievably complicated because
Yes.
if it was really complicated, I would want to sell those plans and actually make money on it,
Yes.
like a dining table or whatever. So,
Yeah, yeah. But shop
one of
projects,
my
because those are like a little bit more universal, right?
yeah, yeah, or like a limited tools build or like something like that.
Yeah, great beginner build. Yeah, that's a good
So
idea.
one of them would be, like, in our bathroom, we don't have, like a linen closet or, like, place to put, like, extra soap and,
Yep.
like, towels and stuff like that, so I was
Yep.
like, "What if I did almost like think of like a dresser, almost like a dresser
Oh,
that
gotcha.
you'd put in the bathroom that would just be, like, kind of intro to building cabinetry and, like,
Hmm.
stuff like that." It'd be
Yep.
pretty basic,
Yeah.
something like that. I also thought about doing, like, a floating TV stand because
Oh, yeah.
nowadays
Those do pretty well, I think.
people don't have tons of peripherals. I
Yep.
mean, you're in the minority of people who have like a AV box with like
Yep.
surround sound and stuff
Yep.
like that. Most people just have like their TV, maybe a cable box, like
Yeah.
an Apple
Yeah.
TV, and
Maybe a
that's about it,
PlayStation or
right?
something, but yeah, it's pretty
Sure.
minimal these days. Everything's built into the TV. Like you can really just get away with just having a smart TV now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I thought about those two. And then I thought about for a shop project, like some sort of like wall mounted, like flip down workbench that would like hook onto the wall and then like flip
Yeah,
down.
yeah,
People
yeah.
love that stuff.
Yeah, totally. You know what I
Um,
here can I pitch you on one? A
please do.
a wall mounted clamp rack that like lets you clamp things on the wall. So say you want to
Oh,
do like a table glue up, but you don't want to like do it on your work table. You have your clamps on the wall and you just kind of stack the material and then tighten the clamps and it's like it's already in place, so it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's like, well, it's drying, it's not on your workbench.
that's actually pretty neat.
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. All right, I'm wall mounted
There was a company that makes
clamping
something like that
station.
that I looked into a while ago, but I don't have the wall space for it personally. But I always thought it was a cool idea, and I was like, you could probably do something like that yourself. Might take a second or two to like come up with a design, but
Huh. Huh. Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I've also considered like, because I know a lot of people will comment, be like, "Hey, this is really cool. Like, I'm just starting out with very limited tools.
Hmm.
What if I did like a here's how to build your first workbench or something
Yeah,
like that?"
yeah. The problem I see with that is that there are so many of those videos out there already.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
I
Okay.
I would love to. So I've run into that a few times. Like I've had to do shop projects. I'm like, oh, I'll film it and make a video about it. But it's like, if you're making a how to make a workbench video, there's already a video out there with like 3 million views or whatever. That if anybody searches how to make a workbench, they're just gonna click that one instead. So it can be kind of hard to stand out.
Valid.
But
Valid.
if you can come up with some sort of twist to put on it, like that would set you apart from the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like
I don't know.
make
I
it.
don't know. I wrote it down. It's not my best idea. Can you think of any other like fun, unique, interesting projects
Yeah.
that would be on the easy to moderate side?
How to make a miter saw dust collector like box housing. It's a
Well,
perfect
that's
project for
what you
you.
want.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
And
I
then when you're
did
done,
think
send
about
it to me.
like I'll ship it to you.
Yeah.
I did think about like making a miter saw stand, but then I was like, I would never use that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so this is the other debate that I get in sometimes is like, okay, so let's say I have a sponsor and they want me to build something, but like I don't want it or need it. Do I
Yes.
just build it and then just like give it to a friend or like what do you do?
I've done that quite a few times. I did that with when I worked with Minwax. They wanted me to do something using. They wanted me. I made a desk, and I ended up just giving it to my friend at the end of the build because I already had a desk.
Was that the one you burnt,
Yeah,
torched
yeah,
it?
yeah.
That's right. That's right.
So
Huh.
I've done that quite a few times, and a lot of time, like when I make something new, like I'll make like a new coffee table. I'll have an old one, and I'll just give that to a friend.
Yeah, just kinda like replace it. You're just like
Yeah,
moving up or
yeah,
whatever.
exactly. So yeah, I mean,
I don't know. Maybe I could make a cool coffee table or something.
yeah, I mean, my friends are always ecstatic when it happens. Like if some sponsors like, hey, like, can you make a coffee table? I'm like, I already have one, but I know my friend needs one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and it's a nice little tie-in for the video too, right? Like it's I don't know, it adds like another dimension. It's like, oh, Eric's a nice guy. He gives away his stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm just trying. Well, truly, I'm trying to think of some projects that pitched them just so I can get some extra cash.
Yeah, let
If
me
I'm being completely transparent.
let me try and
Um,
think. They like shop projects, right? There's so many you can do, like just little things around the workshop to make your life like those tool storage racks, like for your like cordless tools, like you integrate the battery charger and like storing all your.
Yeah.
Again, I mean, it's kind of in that territory of it's been done a few times
Yeah.
before, but some of the
I
things
thought
about.
about like a table saw fence caddy,
Oh
but
yeah,
I was like, is that like just too small? Like, would people really care about that?
you know what, man? I've had that thought where I've been like, this isn't a big enough project to make a video about. Like the
Yeah.
Sam panels in my room, you can kind of see them in the background there. I
Oh, I
thought
think those are sweet though.
I know, but I was like, when I started that project, I was like, nobody's gonna watch this because it's such a simple project, and it's like, it's one of my best performing videos this year.
Huh.
So it doesn't necessarily
Hmm.
need to be something big and epic in order to be well received.
Hmm. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't
I'm
know.
trying to think what else you could do. I mean, from my own experience, people seem to like tech related stuff. So I don't know if you need like a maybe like a laptop stand or something for your
I
computer.
thought about that.
Yeah,
I thought about some computer stuff.
yeah,
I don't know. I'll pitch him some ideas. Try to what I'll do is I'll ask Miranda. Be like, hey, what do we need around the house? Like some
yeah,
small stuff or something like
yeah.
that.
Should I get the dining table done? Come on.
Well, the dining table's been
Oh, it's
built
done.
and
Okay,
we've been
okay,
using it for
okay.
like a
Good, good.
month now.
Oh, really?
But
Okay,
it's oh yeah, the video is just it's taken me forever
I
and
see.
all these holidays and stuff going
Yeah.
on. But
It,
hey, I haven't been on Instagram much,
hmm.
but I heard about this big blow up with Odie's oil.
Oh,
Do
I
you know anything about that?
no, I don't. And now I'm like reaching
Okay.
for my phone. I gotta kind of.
Okay.
Is this good
Well,
after show material?
oh, you're right. We're at an hour.
Are
Yeah.
we?
Why don't we stop here and we can talk about this Odie's oil debacle
Okay.
over on the after show where we can really be honest and, talk about our experiences with the interesting folks at Odie's oil,
Oh,
to say the
jeez.
least.
Yeah. I don't want to say too much right now and spoil the after show. So just know that I'm really biting my tongue right now.
Yeah, Zach. So I know if you're watching the live stream where we do the podcast where you can watch it earlier, Zach pretty much just leaned forward, grabbed his face, and shook his head
Yeah.
to give you any idea of how we feel about the folks at Odie's Oil. But if you want to learn more about that, we will meet you over at the after show on patreon.com/off the cut podcast.
Yes, we will. See you in the next episode, everybody. Or
Oh, that was
potentially.
a horrible. That wasn't. I feel like that was a terrible segue or ending. I
Okay,
feel like,
okay,
all right,
okay,
well,
okay.
we'll
Hold
see
on.
you guys later. Bye.
let me
No
see if I
energy
let
there.
me see if I can give it a little more energy. It's just the middle of the day. Give me a break here. This is not what I'm used
Okay.
to performing my best. See you in the
It's the
next
first
episode,
time.
everybody. Is that
There it
better?
is. That was better. All right,
Okay.
people. We'll see you at the after show, or we will see you in the next episode.